Hello and welcome to What a Guy Wants. We are hosts Coach Ali and Coach Yogesh, and this forum is all about shedding light on all things men. And today's discussion is a topic that you may have either consciously or subconsciously asked yourself, and that is, what does it mean to be masculine? What does masculinity mean? So, Yogesh, just jumping straight right in. When I say the word masculinity, what is it that comes up for you?
First thing that comes up, Ali, is that now in today's world, we are really stuck on the outside perceptions of things. So much so that masculinity has a very outside perspective. Tall guy with a big beard, arm full of tattoos, riding a bike, smoking a cigarette, wearing a leather jacket. And while there is nothing wrong with wearing a jacket, sporting a beard, I'm doing it right now. However, that innately doesn't make you masculine. That are signs of outwardly masculine behaviors or masculine projection. But real masculinity, I feel, comes from inside. It is having the courage to do what is uncomfortable, having the cajones to do something which 99% of the people are avoiding to do, but you really honor it. And thinking, speaking of honor, actually honoring your own words, saying that, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and then you do that. I feel that is masculine energy where you honor yourself and have the courage, the balls to do what you said you will.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about being masculine from the inside rather than the outside.
I feel the masculine energy is the energy which is innately predominant in men, which is the provider, protector, go out hunting and gathering. So that energy, when it is coming from inside, when it's a little bit more grounded, and when I talk about inside, this is my opinion of it. That is the feminine energy which we're talking about, which is emotions, values, that feminine energy, that groundedness, when it's in balance with that, when I have a strong foundation of the feminine energy, this masculine energy really shines. It makes me a good father that takes care of my kids, that works hard, is ambitious, and so forth. Versus a lot of our masculine energy, which is like machoism or seen as put up on a pedestal sometimes, are very very extreme behaviors, like addictions or being overly aggressive or trying to dominate another person. All of those things, this outwardly masculine perception makes all of that cool. And that can be very, very destructive. So for me, masculine energy has a lot of power in it because this is the energy that has created a lot of things, invented new things, the bomb. So it can actually be so destructive as the atom bomb, or it could, when combined well with the feminine energy, which, if you can think about it, is wisdom, love, understanding what is good for all of mankind. That same energy, atomic energy, can be used for lighting up a city or destroying a whole city. So that's basically the difference. I would say that's something which I would put as the masculine energy which is in balance and something which is not.
So, Yogesh, what I'm hearing is that, when you spoke about destruction, it's almost like the masculine energy in its own self. And when
Yeah.
I'm seeing where it's got the power to light up the city, it's a combination of the masculine as well as the feminine energy. Is that correct? What I'm taking out from here?
Yeah. Think about it, right? Think about a very high charge of energy. Okay. If it is so high, it's going to go awry and it's going to be destructive. But when put in a nice channel, in a nice portal which can control it, which can channelize it and then use it more succinctly as per you want to use it, that is basically a more better use of it. And as I speak of it, there's another analogy. I think all of this is an analogy for the mind and the ego. So the mind is like this crazy energy. And for me, the mind is the masculine energy because it makes us go out, do, want, new things, is that. And we go out there and we work really hard. We work in a 9 to 5 jobs and we work till 10 p.m. and we make a lot of money and then we spend it on wants, on things, and then we throw big parties and then we work really hard and so forth. So that's the mind which has the power to create a lot of things, but it can be very destructive. The mind left in complete control can be very destructive. Be like, why should that person even have one small share of the pie? I'll take the whole pie. Let them all burn. Let them all go to hell. And that mind, when is in balance with the soul, with the higher mind, if you may, then the body is functioning well. Then the same ambitious energy is like, you know what? This pie isn't the only thing. They actually, I can make this pie bigger and I can actually make a lot more for me, but I can also give it to more people, share it among all of us, and collaborate with people and make the pie bigger, make it great for everyone. So that's basically for me the masculine energy, the power of the masculine energy and the perils of it. What do you think?
So, as you were speaking, right, what came across to me was aspects of a growth mindset. So my mind went into a different tangent.
Yeah.
It was a growth mindset where see, like looking at the pie, why should anybody else get more of it versus
Yeah.
you know what? Actually, who says that it just has to be this pie? This
Yeah.
can be a much larger pie. Or this can be many pies at the same time. So it just brings a lot of
Abundance.
abundance. It brings a different concept altogether. So that's where my mind's going. And at the same time, if we had to explain, say, a 15-year-old boy
Yeah.
masculinity,
Yeah.
how would you explain masculinity to him, Yogesh?
Wow. Okay. To a little bit more younger kid who is still actually in the formative years to be a man, masculinity would be, I would define it as taking action. So the energy of masculinity is outwardly. It means take action, do the thing which you're supposed to do, go out and play the sport. And that's why, as a 15-year-old, I was always outside. I would finish school, call up my friends, and just be down. And if they aren't coming in to play cricket, football, or any of the sport I want to play, I'm on my bike and I'm cycling around the city, doing what I want to do, grabbing a bite from where I want to eat. So the first thing which would I would think is go out there and take action. That would be the start of the ignition of masculinity. And you just brought it up. Today's kids and today's boys are doing less and less of that. They actually, okay, they might be playing a lot of these shooting games, fast car racing games, but they're still doing it very much in front of screens and on their playstations. And I feel that is stopping them to really explore their masculinity from a big sense, which we had going out there, going in nature. But I think that is a topic for another day. But masculinity is about taking actions.
Okay. So masculinity is about taking action. And again, to that 15-year-old, right? Something that we hear, words like, say, boys don't cry and man up. And
Yeah.
what would you tell this 15-year-old how to deal with that?
That's a great question. I would say there's a lot of benefit to vulnerability, which is opening up to our emotions. I'll tell you what's happening, okay? Innately, when a man goes too much, and again, the caveat is when he's too much in the emotional zone, where he is sarcastic, he's, bitching about things, he is moody. All of those things are frowned upon by men because you're too emotional or you're getting too emotional. It's seen as not having enough masculine energy. And the guy would be like, be a man. So I understand where it comes from. A man being too emotional is actually going into the feminine energy. And that's where the balance is a little awry. So it's not about going too deep into your feminine energy. It's not about being maxed out in your masculine energy. So when you just spoke of men don't cry, men are not okay to have emotions being displayed, a lot of it is coming that they don't want to be seen as a highly feminine energy person, which I think is fair to a small degree. However, if you remember, I started off a discussion being when this masculine energy is without the balance of the feminine energy, it's going to disrupt the world. It's going to be filled with, even if it's not destructive like Hitler was, it's going to be filled with fear, self doubt, and it's going to be filled with addictions. So, screen addictions, binge watching, all of the porn addictions, all of those things comes from pent up emotions, suppressing things. So For me, don't cry is a very simplistic way, so it's not the right answer. Also, this has changed over the last couple of years since I've like really niched down into men's coaching and understanding men's psychology. For me, 2 years back, it was men should cry. Why don't you cry? Just cry, be emotional. But I know that intuitively now it's not the right answer either. So the right answer is to tap into your feminine energy and to have the balance in it. And you can do that in a safe space. So, what men need is a really, really strong safe space, which first affirms that, hey, bro, you are masculine. I know that you're a man. You're okay. I'm there with you. I'm not going to judge you. Once that is established, that gives room for men to emote, to cry, to go into their emotions. And I feel that's where, to a small degree, having a strong community of men is important who are a bit woke in the sense that they understand the dance of feminine and masculine energy because they give you the permission to cry when you have a breakup and so forth, or going the professional route like professional coaches, mentors, counselors, and so forth, therapists. Yeah, so for me, it's more nuanced than yes, cry. But if you just ask me directly, men not emoting and suppressing their emotions, a absolute no-brainer. That is the shortcut to addictions.
So, what I'm getting from you is that it's almost like create that environment, create that safe space to be yourself. There's a way where we can open ourselves up and be honest about what we're feeling in that moment in time and being okay with it, knowing that we won't be judged. Because one thing that's come across very strongly is from what you were saying is that it's almost like, the barrier to emotions is masculinity. But if men already know that is not something that's being debated upon or being judged upon, whether you are showing emotion or whether you're not showing emotion, no matter how you show up, right? There's no denying that you are masculine. That just takes away. It's almost like saying like this strap of mine is red, irrespective of however you see it, it's red. It's not going to change. So your masculinity does not change irrespective of. And if we can take that, it's almost like you can take off that some people are able to take that mask off, right? It's more like, okay, that's not being judged. So I won't be seen as someone who is weak. I'm not going to be seen as someone who is
less of a man.
yeah, like something I would hear like less of a man. And something that I heard a lot when I was growing up was the word sissy. Don't be a sissy. So it's that kind of thing. So when we are not debating that and when we put that aside, it's more like, okay, you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Let's solve it. And in turn, like, what are we doing by doing it, right? By talking about it, solving it, we're decreasing the number of suicides. We're decreasing the amount of domestic violence. We're also showing men that its strength lies in like asking for help when it's required and just taking that help and feeling great about it in doing so. What if the definition of man up meant to actually seek help? Man up meant to get your shit sorted. Man up went to like take that again. It's about that doer mentality. Just go in and do it with that kind of balance. Yeah. So yeah, these are all things that are coming up for me. And something that I'm just thinking might, if I was hearing this, right, that I know that you've already answered this question, but I'm just going to ask this again so that it's just more clearer. If there are men out there, right, they're like, okay, and this is where I was that, okay, I need help. I want help, but I don't have that safe space. I feel very uncomfortable creating that safe space with my friends because all we do is discuss sports, politics, and that's our thing. And we have fun. We play a few games, and that's pretty much our thing. So if somebody asks, how can I help myself? What would be an answer to that, Yogesh?
Wow, great question. Firstly, all that you said, man up, the definition of man up would be how you can help yourself. And the definition of man up has to be a little bit more nuanced. It's basically me going out of my comfort zone and doing the things which I know intuitively I want to do or is calling out to me. So, how they could really help themselves right now, the first thing would be to be honest with themselves. Be honest that, I have a problem. I have a problem that I tried solving in many different ways and I haven't been able to solve it. So for me, it was relationships. That's one of the big reasons why I became a relationship coach, was the dysfunctional relationships and the pain I had, the heartbreak after heartbreak I endured. And for the longest time, it was someone else's problem. I was good, I was perfect, but that person was off. Something wrong with that person also, just my luck. But really, when I really accepted deep inside, you know what, I have a challenge, I have a problem, and then you ask the right question, then what you ask you shall receive. So if you put a question out there, the answers will come. But the first thing is to ask the right questions, right? If I keep asking the right question, what is wrong with that person? Why is she always so flaky? Or why do I always meet the wrong people? The questions are innately wrong, innately putting all the onus there. So, as men, as masculine energy, as I started off saying, it is the thing which to have the cajones to do the thing which is challenging, to do the right thing, where even if everyone's doing the wrong thing, everyone is playing without integrity, but you play with those high values. That is masculine energy. And what you just said, asking for help, we are in an era where people have solved the things which we are trying to solve. They have solved it enough number of times for us to just tap into that knowledge, be it through a book, be it through a mentor, be it through a coach. But whichever choice or whichever poison you choose, at the end of the day, it is about owning it firstly, accepting it. Yes, this is a challenge. Does I do this?
That's beautiful, Yogesh, because you're right. The first step is brutal honesty with ourselves and being aware that, okay, there is a problem. Now I accept that there's a problem. Now that I've accepted it, let me go and seek help for it. But awareness is key, because without awareness, right? And there are ways where we can become aware as well. It's about something that a lot of people do. And again, in my opinion, is just men, is that we use this technique called numbing. What we do is that we start watching Netflix, then we watch for hours together, and we'll just numb ourselves to whatever's happening. And or we will resort to some kind of addiction, alcohol, sex, any kind of addiction. We can gambling, anything. And a clue is to probably possibly go there and understand why. Oh wow, why do I spend so much time on Netflix? Why am I spending so much time on porn? Why am I spending so much time binge eating? Eating even when I don't want to eat, when I'm completely numbed myself to all that pain. So what is it that I'm actually trying to almost repress within by taking all this stuff in? So maybe that's a clue to someone, what's to understand, why am I doing this? What am I trying to suppress? Because sometimes I guess that we're so used to being in our patterns of being that we don't even understand that we're actually trying to suppress something over here. And just being conscious of time. This is this is what's coming up for me. And again, what I would say is that to all those listening, it's if you need the help, awareness is the key. And after awareness, seek the help that you need, whether it's by yourself through journaling, whether it's going out to a coach. And know that no matter what happens, it's not your masculinity that's being challenged. It's about the problem at hand that's waiting to be resolved, so you can become a better, stronger, and a bigger contributor as a you. So these are my final thoughts. Anything for you, Yogesh?
Yeah, two things. Firstly, as what you just ended with, have a better problem to solve. Don't solve the same problems. So once we tackle these problems, as men, we are always going to be problem solvers. So the masculine energy is about problem solving. I'm not taking that away from you. Bro, solve the problem, but don't solve the same binge eating, porn addiction problems, because that's been a problem for a long time. And the second thing which I said, which comes up to me is, eating food, having sex, having a little bit of alcohol, going to parties, whatever it is, watching Netflix, all of that in some level, in some moderation is okay. But the caveat is we know when we are binging on it. And the numbing part, which you just said, my word for it is distracting. What am I using as a distraction to not feel the pain, to not acknowledge a problem? So just acknowledge the problem and grow, solve better problems.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Yogesh. And for all those who are here with us, Thank you for being here with us, and let's create a space where men can actually talk about their problems, where men
Yeah.
can deal with issues so they become better sons, better fathers, better husbands, better participants in society.
If this video has benefited you in any way, then don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. As always, this space is completely yours, so please feel free to share your thoughts and your challenges in the comments below. After all, you never know whose life you might be impacting through that little share of yours.